on satellite, on Freeview, on cable, on radio, on mobile, on the web and around the world. This is First at 9 on Other Derana 24/7.
Tonight, release again. Parliamentarian Namal Rajapaksa and 7 others receive bail, while 32 others remanded till October 30th. Missing tonight. Mother of 1 along with 2 teenage girls is nowhere to be found. Relatives suspect an abduction. President Maithripala Sirisena says Sri Lanka is the only country that protested against the polythene ban. Bond update. The Commission of Inquiry reveals how Perpetual Treasuries Limited siphoned money to its sister companies. And making headlines across the world, rising tensions. Despite the conflicting statements from the US President, US Secretary of State says diplomacy will prevail on North Korea. Good evening to all our viewers from all across Sri Lanka and around the world. I'm Mahesh Johnny and this is First at 9. We begin tonight with details of a family gone missing. 3 females living in the Salamulla area of Kulonava have been reported missing from last Saturday. Valampitia and Grandpa's police have begun investigations regarding the missing individuals who have been identified as a 19-year-old mother and another 2 aged 15 and 14.
The 3 missing females are residents living on the 6th floor of an apartment located in Salamulla area in Kulonava. The missing females are identified as 19-year-old Malithi Vatsala, a mother of 1, 15-year-old Yasanthi Madhushani, sister of Malithi's husband, and a 14-year-old from the neighbourhood named Charitra Chandrasekaran, also known as Sweta. They had gone to Malithi's father's house located in Nagalagam Street in Orugodawatta last Saturday and had then left the place saying that they had wanted to buy clothes.
Malithi left home saying her father called her. Malithi took her infant, my daughter and another girl aged 14 with her to her father's place. She left with the other 2 to buy some clothes. They haven't returned home yet. We pray that we get our children back.
Meanwhile, Malithi's husband was reportedly contacted by Charitra Chandrasekaran at around 9 this morning.
I left for work in the morning. When I came back, I got a call saying that my wife, my sister and the girl next door are missing. We went in search of them but I could not find them. We are still looking for them but could not find any information yet. I was contacted by the girl next door. She claimed to be fine and asked us not to inform the police.
Charitra's mother claims they suspect that their children are being held captive.
In the past, they used to come here and play. That day, she told me that she was leaving with them to buy some clothes. I gave permission. We have no clue about what happened afterwards. We suspect that they might be held prisoner by someone.
Meanwhile, family members of the missing individuals arrived at the Vallampiti police station this morning to file a complaint regarding the disappearance. Police media spokesperson, Superintendent of Police Ruwan Gunasekara, stated that Vallampiti and Grandpa's police have begun investigations in this regard.
UPFA parliamentarian Namal Rajapaksa along with 7 others who were remanded on charges of violent behaviour at the joint opposition protest held opposite the Indian consulate in Hambantota recently were released on bail today. The decision was made after they were produced before the Hambantota Magistrates Court.
UPFA MPs Namal Rajapaksa, D.V. Chanaka and Prasanna Ranavira were arrested on charges of displaying violent behaviour at the joint opposition protest which was held on the 6th of this month. Provincial councillors Upali Kodikara and Sampath Atukorala as well as convener of the Maubima Venuin Ranaviruvo organisation, attorney at law retired Major Ajit Prasanna, including 40 others were placed under remand custody as well. The suspects were produced before the magistrate court this morning. Security was beefed up at the court premises during the proceedings. Magistrate Manjula Karunaratne ordered that suspects be released following a surety bail of 500,000 rupees each.
The
remaining 32 suspects are still under remand custody. The next court hearing will be held on 30th of October. We expect the police to present their report to the judge soon.
MPs Namal Rajapaksa, D.V. Chanaka and Provincial Councillor Sampath Atukorala were released on a special bail request that they be allowed to attend the World Youth Festival in Russia. 5 ordinary citizens too were released following the court hearing.
Suspect 30, 18, 19 were granted bail because of education, while another individual was granted bail as he is getting married. A lady was granted bail as she is a mother of an infant. This government and the UPFA secretary of this province announced that MP Namal and others were released owing to a private trip.
MP Prasanna Ranavira, Provincial Councillor Upali Kodikara and Attorney at Law, retired Major Ajit Prasanna, however, were not granted bail. Relatives of ordinary citizens who were detained were seen gathered at the court premises.
We would not have any issues if we were not granted bail because we are part of this battle. However, I am disappointed that the General Secretary of the UPFA refused to grant bail to innocent mothers, innocent children and other party supporters.
Meanwhile, representatives from the joint opposition were gathered at the vicinity.
What we witnessed today was the way SP Ruwan Gunasekara controlled the court just like SP Daluwatte's right hand. In terms of legal proceedings, we wish to say that this decision is unfair. Mahinda Amaravira is behind the arrest of these individuals. When we come into power, we will hold an inquiry on the police by appointing a commission. When we come into power, we will hold an inquiry on the police by appointing a commission. We will find out the phone numbers of the relevant police officers and obtain their reports.
Meanwhile, the National Police Commission commenced investigations into the assault of a youth at the Hambantota protest. The Police Commission said that a 3-member team from the Public Complaint Unit of the Commission are in Hambantota. The unit will present a report to the Commission in 2 weeks, following which actions will be taken against ASP Tushara Daluwatte.
President Maithripala Sirisena says the implementation of all programs to protect the environment will be expedited. He made these remarks at an event held at the BMICH today.
The Presidential Environmental Awards Ceremony 2017 themed A Blue-Green Era Sustainable Development was held today under the patronage of President Maithripala Sirisena. Many who contributed in environmental conservation were presented with the President's Environmental Award.
One side of our country has been affected by a drought lasting nearly 1.5 years. Another side of our country has been hit by a severe flooding. It took more than 5 days to control the recent wildfires in California. Many countries have faced a massive crisis due to climate change. We will take every step possible to conserve the environment. We will enforce more laws regarding environmental conservation if needed to strengthen them further. The only country in the world that protested against a ban of polythene is Sri Lanka. It is a saddening situation.
In other local stories, issuing a statement to media, former President Mahinda Rajapaksa says that the Good Governance Coalition government never received a mandate to repeal and replace the existing constitution. He also adds that the constitutional reform pledges made by them at the last presidential election were restricted to changing the system of elections and abolishing the executive presidential system. Commenting on the proposal made in the interim report of the Steering Committee of the Constitutional Assembly, the former president says that it has been proposed that the singular word "ekiya" be retained in the singular version of the proposed new constitution, while the English word "unitary" will be dropped from the English version together with the conceptual framework it denotes. He points out that the proposals suggest to consider the northern and eastern provinces as one province. He adds that instead of the accepted 25 administrative districts in the country, the proposal discusses provinces, but the number of provinces is not mentioned. The former president further alleges that the transferring powers to the provinces will greatly reduce the role of the central government as befits a federal system. Former president requests the government to abandon this deconstructed proposal for a new constitution and to bring forward proposals to implement the original constitutional pledges they made. Well, let's move on with the other local stories we have for you tonight. Leader of the Pivituruhela Urume, Uday Gamanpila, says that Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe aims to introduce a new constitution which will provide less powers to the president, in turn making it an unstable constitution. He made this remark at a media briefing held in Colombo today.
Even though he did not like it, late President J.R. Jayawardena had to establish provincial councils. However, in order to prevent Sri Lanka becoming a federal state, late President J.R. Jayawardena used his cunning mind to create some constitutional barriers. Currently, Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe, who is the nephew of late J.R. Jayawardena, is trying to destroy the barriers and dismantle the concept of unitary state. The present constitution devotes equal power to provincial councils and the central government under a list comprising 36 subject matters. However, the proposed constitution aims to destroy this or at least curtail it.
Now, a protest was held in Colombo Fort today demanding the release of student activists and abolishment of CITEM. It was organized by the student movement against CITEM.
The protest was organized over several demands, including the release of the convener of the Inter-University Students Federation, Lahiru Weerasekara, convener of the Inter-University Bhikkhu Federation, Venerable Tampiti Sugatananda Thera, and convener of the Medical Faculty Students Action Committee, Vayan Jayalath. Protesters also demanded the abolishment of CITEM. Severe traffic congestion ensued along Olcott Road and the roads in the vicinity.
The government said it will uphold the principles of good governance, but now they have even taken away our right to protest.
Meanwhile, views were expressed on the CITEM issue at several media briefings today.
The convener of the Medical Faculty Students Action Committee has been remanded without bail for more than 1.5 months on the allegation that he violated a court ruling. But parliamentarian Namal Rajapaksa, who is under the same charges, was released on bail.
පාර්ලිමේන්තු මන්ත්‍රී නාමල් රාජපක්ෂ ඇතුළු පිරිසට අධිකරණය අප දුන්නා. ආධිපතිතුමා උතුරේ ජනතාවගේ ප්‍රශ්න සම්බන්ධයෙන්
The president expressed sensitivity when it came to issues of the people of Northern Province. So we believe that a sensitive leader would also give his attention to the request of the chief prelates of the 3 Buddhist sectors.
තාම සාධනීය ප්‍රතිචාරයක් තාම කෙටි කාලයක් තුල ලබා දෙයි කියලා.
You are watching Sri Lanka's #1 news channel, Other Derana 24/7.
Welcome back, everyone. Let's get to the latest from the Bond Commission. Monetary Board members of the Central Bank, Nihal Fonseca, says it is his view that Perpetual Treasuries Limited had attempted to hide the final destination of their money. Fonseca appeared before the Commission of Inquiry in his capacity as a financial specialist today.
Commencing the proceedings of the Commission of Inquiry, Deputy Solicitor General Milinda Gunatilaka presented bank statements and SWIFT message documents related to Perpetual Treasuries Limited in 3 banks, including the Bank of Ceylon. Gunatilaka showed that Perpetual Treasuries had transferred large sums of money to Perpetual Capital Holdings Private Limited and WM Mendes and Company Limited on many occasions. He added that during each of these transactions, the receiving companies had withdrawn the same amount of money on the same day. As per the bank's accounts, the Deputy Solicitor General pointed out that Perpetual Treasuries had obtained 15 million rupees from one private bank, another 44 million rupees from the other private bank and 79 million rupees from the Bank of Ceylon during 2015 to 2016. Gunatilaka then inquired as to whether Perpetual Treasuries had followed the standard procedure of how a company should engage in transactions with other companies of its group of companies. Monetary Board member Nihal Fonseca said Perpetual Treasuries had done this to hide traces of the money's destination. Meanwhile, Fonseca added that former Finance Minister Ravi Karnanayaka's directive on 26th of March 2016 to government banks on placing bids on lower interest rates had a negative effect on the yield rates during the auction on 29th of March 2016. He went on to say government incurred 550 million rupees due to opportunity costs because EPF decided to place bids on a higher weighted average rate. Responding to a question raised by Commission member Justice Prasanna Jayawardena, Fonseca also said the governor of the central bank or the Market Operations Committee do not have the authority to make decisions on interest rates. In the meantime, Commission member Justice Prasanna Jayawardena informed the Commission today that although he had met with a car accident, he would not disrupt his participation in the proceedings.
Meanwhile, several politicians expressed views about the statement made by the Prime Minister's office, mentioning that Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe is ready to appear before the Presidential Commission of Inquiry on the controversial bond issuance at any time. A few businessmen are looting the money in the central bank. They are being encouraged by politicians. It is Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe who is behind the central bank bond scam, who appeared on behalf of Arjuna Mahendra when the entire country voiced their opposition, along with entities from the government itself who came forward and said they would warrant for those who are responsible. It was Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe. We kept on saying for 2.5 years that legal action must be taken against the Prime Minister. We also hope that the Attorney General would not be lenient with the Prime Minister as he has been with other prominent ministers when they came before the Commission. We also pray that the Prime Minister would not suffer from the so-called amnesia. I kept saying that the Prime Minister is behind this bond scam. He brought Arjuna Mahendra, who is a non-citizen, to carry on with this. The Prime Minister must answer to all of this. Who spoke about this bond issue for the first time? Everybody is trying to get credit for it now. We are the ones who introduced this principle. Have you ever heard of politicians going before a commission while they are in power? Even the Prime Minister had agreed to do so. Isn't that a good quality? And he will give his answers. The right to food is a basic human right. Sadly, too many of us take the food we consume for granted, even as a wave of hunger and famine is engulfing several parts of the world and threatening Sri Lanka as well. Amid today's commemoration of World Food Day, now here's a closer look at the downward spiral in production of rice, our staple food, and how Sri Lanka is bracing for a food crisis brought on by climate change as well as our own carelessness.
The nutrition we receive is what we, as humans, are made of, starting from the mother's womb to the deathbed. It fuels us every day of our lives. Yet, the food that humankind thrives on is not evenly distributed across the world. Some countries starve, while others dump away tons of surplus food. It is to raise worldwide awareness on the need to combat hunger and ensure food security and nutritious diets for all that the United Nations commemorates World Food Day every year on the 16th of October. This year, World Food Day is themed Change the Future of Migration, Invest in Food Security and Rural Development. In Sri Lanka, food security remains a pressing issue, with the number of food-insecure households spiking with each natural disaster to hit the country as per data from the World Food Programme. In addition, as Sri Lanka moves away from an agriculture-based economy, the percentage of labour force employed in agriculture has plummeted, hitting 28.4% in 2016. The drop will prove a hard blow to Sri Lanka's goal of self-sufficiency in rice. Speaking to First at 9, Additional Secretary of the Ministry of Agriculture, Dr. W.M.W. Weerakorn, expressed these views on the matter.
The country has faced drought situations in two different seasons, the last Maha and the Yala. Because of that, the production of agricultural produce, it went down by almost 50%. If you think of rice alone, we normally produce, we require about 2.3 to 2.4 million tons of rice for the whole country to give it to the consumer. But this time we were not in a position to produce that. We produced only about 1.5 million tons of rice. That is simply because of the drought and then subsequent floods. To bridge the gap, we had to import rice. And now the government is importing that. This will be a buffer to make sure that there won't be an increasing in price of rice in the market.
The World Food Programme forecasts a 13-year plunge in Sri Lanka's rice production this year, which will be even more severe with the failure of the last Yalla season. In this backdrop, Sri Lanka seems trapped in a downward spiral as rice production continues to suffer rapid ups and downs. What is being done to combat the subsequent food crisis? The World Food Programme says it is working hand in hand with the government in this regard.
Government of Sri Lanka's efforts to address rural food insecurity issues has been remarkable, and WFP Sri Lanka has been able to support in terms of climate adaptation, resilience building programs. WFP have been hand in hand with the government.
How can this collapse be contained? Also elaborating on the looming food crisis, Dr. W.M.W. Weerakorn of the Ministry of Agriculture had this to say.
Excellency President Maithripala Sirisena, he has announced the so-called Vaga Sangramya, that is food production drive for the coming Maha season. That the sole aim is to make sure that every inch of land which could be cultivated will be cultivated during the major season, that is the Maha season. And the provincial councils, private sector and all the other organizations, they will be supporting those farmers to get the seed paddy. And the government is giving 50% subsidy for those farmers who got affected by the recent drought. The whole country will be united in terms of increasing the production. What is expected is to invest towards improved food security, nutrition and sustainable agriculture.
Pakistan's Foreign Secretary Temina Janjua will be visiting Sri Lanka from the 17th to the 18th of October 2017 to take part in the 5th round of bilateral political consultations between Pakistan and Sri Lanka. During her stay, the Foreign Secretary will call on Sri Lankan President Maithripala Sirisena, Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe and Foreign Minister Tilak Marapana. The Pakistani High Commission in Colombo said she will hold in-depth discussions on all bilateral relations and matters of mutual interest pertaining to the regional and international arena. An individual who was travelling from Panadura to Aludgama fell victim to a robbery when 700,000 rupees worth of gold and 275,000 rupees in cash was stolen from his vehicle. The incident was recorded by a CCTV camera of a shop in close proximity to the area as well as security cameras in his car. The All Ireland Canteen Owners Association warned that pomegranates injected with red dye are being sold at various markets. They made the revelation at a media briefing in Colombo today.
Let's move on to business news now. Governor of Central Bank Dr. Indrajit Kumaraswamy was named Central Bank Governor of the Year for South Asia by publication house Global Capital at Global Capital Markets Award ceremony in Washington, D.C. recently, which concluded with the World Bank IMF annual meetings. Elliot Wilson, an author of Global Capital, said that Kumaraswamy has a cool, calm and collected approach to central banking. The article added that South Asia is awash with highly capable central bank chiefs. However, Dr. Kumaraswamy fully deserves this award for his unstinting professionalism and for ushering his country through some choppy waters over the past. Let's take you to the stock market now. Sri Lankan shares snapped a winning streak to end lower today, slipping from their highest close in more than 10 weeks, hit in the previous session with investor bookings profits in financials. The Colombo Stock Index ended 0.55% weaker at 6,595.94, slipping from its highest close since July 31st hit on Friday. And last week, the Bourse rose 1.6%, posting its fifth straight weekly gain. We now have the daily market update with RM Sivanandan from the Colombo Stock Exchange.
The turnover was 394.92 million rupees with 21.23 million shares changing hands in 4,936 trades. The market capitalization at the end of the day was 2,991.38 billion rupees. Today's foreign purchases was 98.78 million rupees and the foreign sales was 95.52 million rupees.
You are watching Sri Lanka's premier news channel, Other Derana 24/7.
On to international news now. In spite of several bellicose tweets from US President Donald Trump on North Korea and amid conflicting statements from the White House, the Pentagon and Trump, US Secretary of State Rex Tillerson insists that diplomacy will prevail on North Korea until the first bomb drops. Tillerson made the remarks during the State of the Nation program on CNN in the backdrop of rising tensions between himself and the US president.
US President Donald Trump undercut Secretary of State Rex Tillerson last month, urging him not to waste time seeking talks with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, even as Tillerson stated that the US was communicating with Pyongyang. Speaking to CNN, Tillerson emphasized the importance of sanctions and diplomacy despite Trump's often touted military options.
We now have the most comprehensive sanctions in place that have ever been put in place. So we have the international community more unified against North Korea's nuclear program than we've ever seen. So it's a combination of economic, diplomatic pressure, and then the president building a very strong message to North Korea. President Trump wants this solved diplomatically. He is not seeking to go to war. Diplomatic efforts will continue until the first bomb drops.
Philippine troops killed two top commanders of the pro-Islamic State militant alliance in the operation in southern Marawi city today. The militants' deaths mark significant progress for the country's military, which has been criticized for its slow progress in retaking Marawi, the country's only Muslim majority city.
The Philippine military said that the two militants identified as Nilon Hapilon and Omar Kaya Mamaute were killed in a raid on a building in Marawi.
The neutralization of these two high-value targets has begun and signaled the ultimate defeat of the enemy inside. But we are not letting our guard down because there are still valuable lives we need to rescue.
The United States had for years offered a bounty of up to $5 million for the elusive Hapilon over his activities as a faction leader of the notorious militant group Abu Sayyaf.
You are watching Sri Lanka's trusted news brand, Other Derana 24/7.
Well, on to cricket now. Pakistan were only able to score 219 for the loss of 9 wickets in the second one-day international against Sri Lanka. Chasing the target of 220 at the Sheikh Zayed Stadium in Abu Dhabi, the Lions are currently 30 for the loss of 1 wicket.
Pakistan won the toss and opted to bat first.
And of course had no hesitation.
Sri Lankan bowlers showed positive signs as they thrashed the Pakistan top order. Pakistan's top 5 were dismissed in just 79 runs, with youngster Lahiru Gamage clinching 4 wickets for 57.
Sri Lankans are in business.
Despite early wickets, last match's favourite Babar Azam scored a much-needed ton to stabilise the team. Together with Azam, Shadab Khan scored a half-century, driving the score to 200 plus.
Well, Johannes Vetter and Katrina Stefanidi were named European Athletes of the Year at the Golden Tracks Award ceremony in Vilnius, Lithuania recently.
And the winner is Johannes Vetter.
Javelin world champion Johannes Vetter of Germany was crowned the 2017 European Men's Athlete of the Year at the Golden Tracks Gala ceremony in Vilnius on Saturday.
Katerina Stefanidi.
Reigning Olympic and World Pole Vault champion Katerina Stefanidi of Greece clinched the 2017 European Women's Athlete of the Year award. The Men's Rising Star Award was presented to 400 meters world champion Karsten Warholm of Norway. Ukraine's Yulia Levchenko secured the Women's Rising Star Award. The 2017 Golden Track's Lifetime Achievement Award was presented to local Lithuanian discus throwing legend Virgilijus Alekna.
You are watching Sri Lanka's award-winning news channel, Other Derana 24/7.
Well, Sadhini Upeka is at the Other Derana Weather Center with your weather for tomorrow.
Good evening and welcome to the Weather Center. To begin with, temperatures for tomorrow are expected to vary between 20 and 33 degrees Celsius. Spelling more rainfall, the low pressure zone over the southwestern part of the island is expected to increase during the day. Showers or thundershowers can be expected over Jaffna, Mannar, Trincomalee and Anuradhapura, along with most of the western province, southern province and Kandy. That's it from the Weather Center tonight. Up next is your city-by-city forecast.
And that is a part of your world tonight right here on Other Derana 24/7. I'm Mahesh Johnny. First at 9 will return tomorrow at the same time. Do join us then. And before we go, we like to take you to Tangol, whose coastline is a well-known tourist attraction with clear waters, golden beaches and of course the Humanea. Humanea is the only known blowhole in Sri Lanka and it is considered by many to be second largest blowhole in the world. Thank you for joining us. Good night.
Bringing you the news and information 24 hours a day. This is Sri Lanka's premier news channel, Other Derana 24/7.